George M. Bailey, Lieutenant Commander, USN, retired. When the war ended, I was in Japan, wanted to go home, and the people there, what we did, we built a base for ourselves. We built bottoms for tents and things, like CBs. And one day, Commodore Nathan Bard came by, said, "Bailey, I'm glad to see you joined the Navy, stayed in the Navy." I said, "Commodore, they're not letting us go." And next day, I had my orders. And my next duty was at VRU-4, mainly because I knew code, and they needed radio men. See what happened, I was always expected that as a seaman you should know the code. So when I'm in this assembly there and they say, "Who knows the code?" And I was an aviation radioman right there. And it turned out very well. R4Ds, which are C-47s. We had one C-46 JRB SNV, and that was for when you weren't carrying much and you did whatever operations you were going to do. Hendon, we didn't live on the base. We slept on it when you had duty, but we lived in it. And again, people in England treated us like heroes. Yeah. Even in the 50s they did. We had an admiral warned the Germans, or the Russians, that we would shoot first if it came to that, which was really neat because all we had was flare guns. But we were in Skagerrak up there, and evidently he put the warning out and it reached the papers, and when we came back, we'd go to a movie free or whatever. No, even when we went to Berlin, it was hellacious destruction. When I went to Germany to pick up my wife, there were thousands of people working in the rubble. Old ladies knocking cement off of bricks, carrying them, putting them to be rebuilt. I guess that's the way it goes. When the subway went through the Russian zone, then you could take a taxi and you go through the Russian zone. We'd go to the barracks, and so when I figured Germans must have really had a big ego, but the toilets were huge. Some arrogant people, like one guy told me, "I used to be a pilot and I'd bomb you," and I'd say, "Yeah, I used to be a gunner, I'd try to shoot you down," you know, intentions. And you had to be careful what you said, where you said it, where you went. And even in London, you had to be careful because they're everywhere. And that was a really interesting duty. We flew all over Europe, and we got orders which said, "To so-and-so and any other place you may be sent to." So we were sent to some places where I was, as a radioman, I was told to say we were at 10,000 feet over so-and-so, and we were on the ground and doing things that they wanted us to do. And I used to think it was something to do behind the Iron Curtain, because we'd land, we'd throw a couple boxes and a person off, and a couple people would come on and we'd go again. But that was really a very good experience because we went everywhere. And I remember one time my pilot, he wanted to go out to USS Rochester and buy some sea stores. He said, "Remember, Lieutenant Bailey, what happened here?" So we went out and he reported aboard. He said, "I'm Lieutenant Warden and this is Lieutenant Bailey and we'd like to do this." And I'm on a cruiser wondering what's going to happen next. But it was a very tight squadron. And I remember one time we went into Algiers and had a Navy captain with us. And we went up to the ambassador's residence. And we were talking about staying overnight, this and that. And the ambassador said, "Well, you can have this room over here. This will be your bedroom. It's where Churchill stayed." I said, "Oh, great." And there's a young lieutenant there. He says, "Well, Bailey can go down to one of those ships in the harbor. They'll give him a bunk." So the good captain turned to him and said, "Lieutenant, why don't you do that?" So that was a kind of duty it was. And had a lot of good experiences. People just treated us great wherever we went. And Lieutenant, my pilot, explained to me that it wasn't because he was ashamed of me as an enlisted man. He said, "You get more respect if I tell him you're an officer." So we did. And we went to Switzerland, which was disillusioning because the Swiss told me the best people that came through, the customs officer said the best people that came through were Germans because they didn't lie. So I figured, well, I know where my bread's buttered over here. Mine might be P's and Q's. But all in all, it was great duty. My wife joined me over there in England, and then she went home again to have the baby. She wanted to have the baby in America. And then she came back, and it was just great. In fact, when she came over the first time, my captain said, "I can't give you leave. We're just too short-handed. So we're going to take a plane over and you go pick your wife up and come back." So that was in Bremen, Germany. Again, that's the kind of squadron it was. You know, he can't give you leave, but I'll give you a plane. And just a good tour.